Few minutes of driving past, passing roads and lanes. That's just the lamest. Why do you even bother with that, okay? Passing roads and lanes? They're in a fucking car! What else would they pass? Why don't you just go with sprawls of urban housing? Naomi had put on the loud, romantic love songs, which made it very hard to have any sort of meaningful conversation. Eventually, we came to a stop, parallel parking between two vehicles before he turned the engine off. I was half expecting him to turn it off, and then we just had to push it in, but whatever. We're here! I'll go get Olivia's wheelchair, right? No, I'll do it. I could once again see the frown in the mirror, but I got outside. I had enough frowns to fight on my own face. What was the hidden stick up her ass this time? I mean, why would she want to do this? Is she trying to be nice? Is she trying to earn brownie points with Nasser? I mean, I guess so. It's the best excuse I can make up. Moving over to the back, I popped open the trunk of Nasser's car to produce Olivia's wheelchair, unfolding it with a click and walking over to her side. Naturally, she had already opened the door by herself and hoisted herself in, showing off that incredible upper arm strength. When she was done with that, Nasser had to ask it. Now do you experience it? What do you think of my car? NASCAR? It's cool. Personality, I guess. Reminds me of you in a weird way. Where'd you even get it? Looks like it survived a couple of drive-bys. Yeah, you get those on the cheap. That's because it did. Nasser loudly and proudly proclaimed, as if it indicated some positive quality. It was a seized vehicle from the police station that Dad gave me for my 16th birthday. I'm surprised you picked up on that. I have a question for you. Seized in what way? Well, the driver was dead, so... Well, there was no next of kin, so, no one owned the car anymore. The fact the driver died didn't... What? Olivia and I blinked. I spoke up first, because Olivia isn't allowed to fucking talk in this fic. She sits there and looks pretty. Until spoken to. Wait, did someone actually die in it? I like that he never found out in the original game. Original game. The non-NG plus one. Nasser hooked a claw underneath his face. I guess Snoot is a good one. Remained far quieter than I liked. Before answering with a very... Well, Dad told me they had to clean some blood out, but... Yeah, because the bullet was, right over the driver. Unless it was at an angle. For once, I'm grateful for Naomi barging into the conversation. What's everyone talking about? Nothing. Let's just go find something to eat. So this entire section, I don't know why it's here. I think it's just to get Naomi to do a naughty thing. And to, set up the fact that Olivia wants to break it off as soon as possible, which is fair. But it drags its feet in a weird way, and it makes Tracy look like an asshole. Even though I think that Tracy's personality is a lot more live and let live. She's worldly, she's wise, she doesn't really give a shit. Because, personally, I'd way more go with the idea of Tracy does stock vegan options, because why not? That's half your fucking customer base. Not even as hot dogs, just a vegan option. Oh cool, I'll just throw some of my dressing together and ba-bam, it's a salad, quote unquote. I'm just saying that Tracy's making things unnecessarily difficult for herself. I don't know if Naomi's the person you want to be nice with anyway, but you know what I mean. Olivia turned tail with me. Naomi tried to stay with Tanas's side, but given all the light posts and everything, let's just say that took a bit of effort. After a while of watching from my peripheral, I could tell she gave up. Now, just hang her head out on her feet and walking forward to join me up front. Clear reluctance was on her features, further increasing when I decided to talk out of earshot of the other two. Well, how's your plan coming along? Oh, it's going swimmingly. Thank you for your concern. Why, is there a problem with me being here? That sideways glare from in front of her glasses didn't sit well with me. Well, yeah, kinda. You invited yourself to what should have been a private thing? Oh yeah? If it's so private, why did Nasa not say no to me? Oh, because if we would have said no, I would have said no, she would have said no, you should have said no. I don't know what to tell you. Naomi, you and I both know that Nasa is not the type to say no. I've literally seen him backtrack just to take a flyer from a distributor he missed. So what is this all about? Why did you come with us? The problem I have with this, right, is Anon is using swears, and swears always imply that he is already past the point of giving a shit. And I don't know if he should be this overt. I don't know, it's a bit too overt for the scene. What made you even think I'd ever want to? Because you asked! I couldn't help but give her a double take of disappointed belief. Someone had to make sure you didn't ruin him. Ruin him? What, you mean like Fang was ruined? I'm not Trish. Yes, in case you've forgotten, Nasa dropped a study session to hang out with you two. There'll be consequences on his academic performance because of this. Once again, I listened to the academic excuse that Naomi seemed to tout whenever it came to Nasser. At this point, I would have respected her more if she just plainly admitted that she wanted the pterodactyl's attention to herself. Besides, how do you know that Olivia's good enough for him? The question hit with the grace of a brick through a window, just reminding me of Olivia's words from last night. Why not from your mom? First time in a long time, I could feel my temper slip. Sharp teeth, bared wide. Naomi took my silence. I don't know if that's silence, man. You are being overt with your physical gesturing. Well, I guess you don't. Naomi, drop it. No. My hostile tone and low voice took her off guard. Clearly, she wasn't expecting that kind of pushback. Of course, her eyes blinked besides her glasses. Hey, any of you guys, what you guys want to eat? Well, I'm down for whatever. I opened my mouth, but Naomi, of course, beat me to the punch. Speaking in that... Also, another problem I have is the author clearly fucking hates Naomi at times, because, man, you're being so mean. Like, maybe this is just how she talks, man. Maybe she has a speech impediment. How do you know? Oh, I know a place. It's a French gourmet that has amazing reviews and... Jesus, no. Luckily, it seemed like fate had thrown me a bone for once, as someone else called out. Hey, you're taking that fancy pants restaurant, talking about that fancy pants restaurant down the block? Why do I feel like I heard that voice before? We turned our heads to the source, our eyes widening at a familiar hot dog cart. Shit. Oh, I'm glad. I was gonna say your eyes. No. It's our heads, but my eyes. Because why would anyone else care? Actually, Nasser and Naomi live here. They should know this person, shouldn't they? I don't think Tracy is that subtle about her marketing tactics. And I always got the impression that Nasser and Naomi had visited that park before, so... Wearing an outrageous... How is that... Her chef hat is not outrageous. It's a bit much, maybe, but I wouldn't call it outrageous. I mean, I guess it's a bit taller than it should be, and it is worn at an angle. It does not work with her design, though. Like, the rest of her design is this way more restrained palette. Except that weird green on her, like that little splotch of green that just doesn't do anything. I don't know if I like it as much in hindsight. That for some reason that stuck out in my mind after all these years. Holy shit, it was the hot dog vendor lady. Her name is Tracy. I don't know if she ever introduced herself in an E1 run, but hey. Why pay an arm and a leg for that when there's perfectly good H-dogs over here? The orange dinosaurs opened a compartment, showing off mouth-watering hamburgers. Hey, buddy. I call them steamed hot franks, ready to serve. Wait a minute. Those aren't steamed, those are obviously grilled. Grilled? No, Anon. Of course, they're steamed. Yeah, like, you know. That's just an Albany expression. Well, I'm from the Midwest. I can't lie about that. Hot dog? I haven't had a good hot dog in a while. It smells really good. Reminds me of that cat I ate once. The pterodactyl looked to Olivia before looking at Naomi. And I... Pterodactyl? Oh yeah, Nasser. Let's get some hot dogs then. Naomi was giving me that once again I mean, I would like to point out that Anon didn't do anything. This is Tracy. This is on fucking Tracy, no one else. I mean, you pointed out, let's not get some hot dogs, but Tracy was the one who kind of dropped the idea. Can't blame Anon for going with the flow. The hot dog lady, of course, smirked, chuckling as she sized me up. Whoa, didn't know you can't be screwed so tall. Guess your parents must be feeding you your greens, huh? Just lucky with the genetics. Oh, a hybrid, huh? I like how she... Again, this is such a weird thing to just do for her. Same goes for me, too. Got a Connie dad, herby mom, which means I get to enjoy the best of both worlds. Again, I don't know if that's how that works. That's not how omnivorism works at all. But hey, whatever. But enough about me. What are you having? I'll get a hot dog with everything on it. Gotcha. Hot dog, a chili dog for me. Excuse me, Nasser. Are you Sonic the Hedgehog? What are you talking about? Are you Sonic the hedgehog. Anon, you're scaring me. I'm asking you a question, Asa. Are you Sonic T. Hog? Everyone is just really uncomfortable, too, by the way. Naomi's turn, and of course, do you have any vegan options? Okay, this is the problem I have. I like how she calls him a parapuss, and she calls out, like, You know, the way Tracy should handle this, right, is she should be like, I have ice cream. I have ice cream, okay? It's non-dairy ice cream. Because, again, if she packs ice cream and it's like for Herbies, then logically it should be for Herbies. But then it isn't. So has she ever sold it to them? Like, this sentence doesn't make sense, because Tracy is smarter than this. This makes Tracy look really dumb. Or like an asshole, and neither is great. And then she just gives her just a hot dog bun, which is like the weirdest thing to hand someone. Like, you're just fucking around, Tracy. Jesus. Like, she was nice to Anon, like legitimately helped him and everything. What'll it be for you, compy? Oh, just give me a plain one. Alright, that'll be 3 steamed hams for the lot of you. I'm pretty sure hot dogs are made with, like, waste meat, not even ham. Well, that's what they all say about my mouth-watering steam burgers. Why that one is the one that gets into my head? I don't know. It wasn't long before we all got our customized. I want to point out, they are not customized. You literally got a plain. He got a chili, and she got an everything. Like, none of you customized anything beyond what is expected. Some are only paying $3.50 for her orders. It's probably because she feels really bad about giving you just a bun. Olivia and Nasser scarfing them down. Of course, Nasser got a chili all over his dogs. Naomi, meanwhile, just looked at the empty bun in her hand. I mean, to be fair, hot dog buns, I've noticed, the ones I've had have been decent. Like, hey, could be worse. I paused for a moment, realizing that's pretty dang bad. That's not nice. That's just mean. Anon, I thought you were trying to be a better person, but you're just being a fucking asshole, and so is Tracy. It really feels like whoever wrote this had, like, a really bad day. Hey, Naomi, we'll stop by another card or something. You know, get something real to eat. She seemed as if she was about to glare at me before realizing that Nasser was looking at her as well. Nodding in agreement with his mouthful of chili dog, edges of his face stained with chili oil. Naomi looked back at me. Naomi looked back at me, peering down, eyed her glower with a nod. The problem I have with this is too many actions condensed together, right? This feels like too much is happening at once for one person. In terms of emotional expression. The hot dog lady now speaking. Yeah, there's some fancy food carts by the park. They definitely got some of that fancy, artsy, smartsy vegan food you want. Honestly, considering this, like, the biggest problem I have with this, isn't this a post-racism world? Shouldn't people just be like, some people don't eat meat? That's the problem I have with this. As long as you didn't get your boyfriend to pay for it. Oh, yeah. Also, I have a problem. I know what she's trying to say. They are expensive. But they're not expensive. But they're only expensive if your boyfriend doesn't pay for them. Like, I get what she's trying to go for, but man, what a clumsy bunch of sentences. And then, of course, she's implying, like, Naomi is Anon's. Which, again, I guess that is kind of what's going on. Considering that Naomi, you know, Nasser and Olivia are obviously giving each other googly eyes, if anything. Well, at least Nasser is. Also, you're talking to Naomi a lot, so hey, can't blame her. You were walking together when you arrived at the stall. Naomi, on the other hand, coughed out a mushed piece of bread. I like why is it described as mushed out? Because you're just doubling on and out. As if it had gone down the wrong pipe, thumping her chest. Livia, of course, finding it all quite amusing. You both good? I managed to swallow my food after a bit of difficulty. Oh, yeah, I almost fucking choked. I missed that part. Yeah! We're not. He's not my boyfriend. What the hell even gave you that idea? Sheesh, sorry. Guess my intuition was correct. Clearly. Naomi said angrily agreed before pausing. Having realized that Nasser and Olivia were staring, the former's snoot dropped open as he blinked. Perhaps for the first time witnessing an angry Naomi. While Olivia, of course, just gave a raised eyeball, just flying off into the stratosphere. Olivia, can you please put your glass eye back? It's creeping everyone out. I mean... no worries. Mistakes happen after all. She tried to dismiss with a cheerful but weak tone. Or weak cheerful. I don't know. It's kind of awkward. Cheerfully weak sounds so weird, though, considering what she's trying to pull. The sudden awkwardness was cringe-inducing, but somehow saved by the vendor. Okay, I want to point out, this is the second time that someone has basically saved Naomi from an awkward situation. Like, twice. Naomi has gotten slammed, and nothing happens for it. It's really weird to do this in such high proximity. Sounds like someone's angry. Why don't you do move on to the park and get this poker or something to eat? It's gonna get crowded if you're staying around so much. The two of them folded. Again, why paper trays? I thought you served hot dogs on like a little, you know, a little napkin. Also, why are you even describing this? Just say they finished their meals and threw it away. It's oddly specific. I guess we should. It's known to get back to them during the weekend. I finished my own hot dog. Two of them already moving past as I followed. Naomi, on the other hand, needed a moment. Staying behind with a hot dog bun in her clawed hand, letting to tear it apart. Didn't look like it was out of anger to me or anyone else. Just upset with herself, maybe. Give me a moment. I gotta figure out exactly where we are at this. Yeah, we can do a little bit more. True to the vendor's word, the park was already filled to the brim with activity, including food trucks parked on the streets beside it. Yet despite that, Naomi seemed to forgo any effort to buy something, even stuff that looked delicious. Well, it looked delicious in terms of vegan food. Shaking my head to forcefully put on a bright smile and politely rejecting any stops that we would have done for Naomi to get food. So, what the hell was eating a Naomi now, considering she hadn't even eaten? I know what you're trying for, but again, he's tried to be clever several times now, and it just always falls flat. This guy does not know English, or is translating this directly with no effort made to make it work. I don't know what the... Oh, well, there's a slight problem. Let's take a minute. There we go. That should prevent a small problem from happening later down the line. Oh, sweet Jesus. Where was I? Regardless, my attention was more on Olivia and Nasser, given the impending nuclear fallout that was going to happen between those two. Nasser was pointing out some beautiful scenery, romantic stuff, as they continued side by side. Should have been a pleasant, semi-romantic moment, but of course my sister was growing more and more uncomfortable. Why do you use uncomfy? It's such a weird word to use in this context. The longer she spent with Nasser, a rid of joy seemed to hurt her, especially with that look of guilt. Nasser, of course, is a goddamn idiot. Didn't notice anything. Far too much in love to notice. The most ironic part is that any time Olivia tried to slow things down, start a serious conversation, this is, again, really awkward. Anytime Olivia tried to slow stuff down, Naomi would break in and break it up. Like, this makes sense if this was a completely new section, but it's not. You're still on the same page, my man. This is how chapter, we know what the plan is. Naomi would step in to break it all up, spouting and pointing out more meaningless facts about the park. I let Naomi continue doing so, not sure what to even do considering how screwed up this whole situation was going to get. Part of me actually hoped that all those interruptions would end up changing Olivia's mind regarding her relationship with Nasser. How fucking sad was that? So, I would like to point out that nothing of actual value has happened. They just went to the park, they saw Tracy, hey, called out for the fans, and then they went to the car. Like, again, this is why I think that this... You could have cut this. You could have cut this. You could have something completely different happen to give Naomi the, awkward moment. I don't know, man. Like, at the park. Maybe there's a valet because it's such a fancy place. I don't know. Very easy, fast, smooth way of doing it. Especially since it makes Tracy look like a fucking asshole. Which, come on, man. Don't be mean to Tracy like that. Like, being a jerk to a character means someone else has to be the jerk first. And if that person isn't already a jerk, you just seem like an asshole. Because you're ruining a character. I'm just saying, man. Character assassination. And not Naomi. By the time... oh, wait. We returned to the car after a bit, driving around downtown, pointing out points of interest. We kept a noticeable distance away from Skid Row. I always thought Skid Row was not that big, and also, a place you could easily avoid. So, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure the wealthy district isn't, directly across the street from it. Maybe it is, given where Anon goes to school. considering that I knew where we were in the city. By the time I finally arrived, as did the Gold Fern Galleria. It already looked quite crowded, sliding doors at the entrance constantly opening and closing. Why didn't they just keep them open at that point? Enough for those exiting, hinting at the expected crowds within. A.k.a. people only entered. We entered alongside, and I'd never been to the Golden Fern in my past life, only recalling that Fang had described the place as ritzy. As a ritzy little number. I just like the term ritzy little number, sorry to tell you. And she was right. This place got the riz. A real gyat and goat. If there were two words I could describe this mall with, they'd be overpriced and overcrowded. Many dinos were standing or walking atop the literal red carpet running down the center to the middle of the mall, where a gigantic middle sculpture of a volcano provided itself as the prominent centerpiece. Droning music played from distant speakers overhead. Of course, the classical music you just forget about 5 seconds later. Even class can't stop that. There were 2 floors with walkable platforms that ran parallel. What do you mean parallel beside the ground floor? What does that even mean? Like, I think I know what it's going for, but it's really awkward. Anyway, there were ferns, and they have their roots, and they go underneath those platforms to the ground, which is kind of neat. And true to the name of the gallery, I wonder if, like, they have enough power to suck up that high, though, if it's like a floor above the ground. And true to the name of the Galleria, their leafy fronds, unless you're just hanging. They're not, like, growing out of the ground floor, they're, like, the roots are just hanging out of the dirt. Their fronds were distinct yellow, were the color of gold. Why didn't you just call them a color similar to gold? Like, why? This is such a weird way of putting this. Who talks like this, right? Like, I get this if he's talking, but this is his thoughts. And you would be a bit snappier like that. Unless, you know, Anon's having a brain fart day. Which, given the context, fair enough. Did that brain teach you never one of those? Olivia asked, a hint of astonishment in her voice. Oh, not quite. It's actually done by putting colors and dyes in the roots with the water. Then they absorb them through their stems and create the golden coloration in the frogs. Which is a way you can do this. I don't know why you... Injecting? No, you just mix it in with the water, buddy. You don't have to shove a needle into a fern. Like, this is like a really common thing where, you know, you put a rose in like a certain kind of watercolor. Oh man, now the red roses are blue! Science! For once, her answer felt informative and interesting, instead of just informative and interesting. The two of us nodded our heads while Naomi continued along. So what do you two think of the place? Pretty cool, right? Are you trying to earn brownie points by presenting us a mall? That's so lame, Nasser. Ugh. Yeah, I answered. Try not to be bothered by Olivia's reactions as I walked over to Nasser. Hey, remember the mall of California we went to during 7th grade? There it is. I was looking for it. How could I forget the Eurasian barbecue and you spying in on my talk with your dad? He told me all about it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Anon? Give people some privacy. The baryonyx blinked with Naomi looking aback. Aback? More taken aback. With Naomi looking more taken aback, almost offended at the notion of the... Wait. Our two of them have spent more time in private together in the past. Speaking of arcades, I think there's actually an arcade on the 2nd floor somewhere. Isn't that why we came here? Like... Yes, he'd been... Okay, listen, I don't know how to tell you this, buddies. But we literally pointed out this earlier in the story. Like, what are you doing? Are these separate chapters or not? I think these are separate chapters. Like, every one of these splits we get, right? These little lines is actually a separate segment. And the author just isn't breaking them up into chapters for some reason. In which case, please do. Because I think the reading experience improves because of it. You might say, no, it wouldn't. Yes, it would. Segmented and compartmentalization in reading is important. Sometimes a chapter is just 5 pages long, and that's fine. He pretended to be spanking on the spot, despite the fact he had literally told us this was the plan from the get-go. Nasser, that sounds like a fantastic idea, Nasser. Let's go straight there. No? Isn't that what you were literally bringing up? Naomi ushered him forward, going up the crowded steps of the 2nd floor and leaving me with Olivia. We turned heads, looked at each other, and, well, Olivia looked really tired. Clearly not interested in where it was going. Olivia, are you really going to let him go? I have to, Anon. Don't drag your tail, Anon. That's rude.